for a little bit. Here, of course, is your nasopharynx. And we'll get into facial bones. Actually, we'll start that next week. Okay? Already, we're starting to pick up signs of C1, evident by the anterior arch. Right through here would be probably where you're going to pick up the dens. Here's your vertebral arteries. Once again, lateral pterygoid muscle attached to both sides of the ramus. You're starting to get early transition over here, and here, and here. Keep in mind at the base of the skull, you'll see two primary vessels. You'll see the internal jugular vein, which, by the way, hint, is the largest vessel on the neck, right? And then directly anterior to it is going to be internal carotid artery. Those are the first two you'll pick up as you work your way down. Early transition of a mixed attenuation, which is evident of the parotid glands. Parotids being the largest of the salivary glands. We see retraction, that's a jawnism, but see how it's being pulled away here? All that means it's falling outside of our field of view. And when it goes back into a field of view, now we transition from lateral pterygoid to medial pterygoid muscle. So here we have, poor slide, sorry about that, internal jugular vein, internal carotid artery, retraction, we're not going to worry about that, ramus. We'll get into muscles a little bit later on. Again, look at the area. We're picking up the anterior arch of C1 and the odontoid process, nasopharynx. We won't get into facial bone structures beyond that. Please slow me down as we go through these. Yes, ma'am. The masseter is going to start showing up here, miss. It's always going to show up on the lateral aspect of the ramus. Let me go down another level, Caitlin, and show you here. It's a little better view of it right here, miss. Right here is masseter, right over here. Now this is re-expanding into medial pterygoid muscle. Medial pterygoid muscle will be the last one, in addition to the masseter that we'll pick up as we work our way from top to bottom. It will remain all the way to the body of the mandible. So from an order or a transition perspective, what you have temporalis, you have lateral pterygoid muscle, medial pterygoid muscle, and then on the outside you're going to have masseter. From the standpoint of other landmarks, you're picking up the nasopharynx over here. You're getting just below C1. Once again, you have internal jugular vein, internal carotid artery, mixed attenuation seen bilaterally, which is again the parotid gland, and just transitioning in, either term will be acceptable. If you want to be correct, it's called the retromandibular vein, but as we work our way down, it will transition into external jugular vein. Here, this little sliver of muscle over here will be important because it helps us to find compartments in the neck, which is the SCM. Okay, the little trapezius back over here. Just getting into the good stuff. All right, nasopharynx anterior. From our perspective, posterior, little early signs of oropharynx and early transition of uvula. Going around the horn, I have medial pterygoid muscle, masseter. I have parotid gland. Early transition of retromandibular vein or external jugular vein. Internal jugular vein, anterior carotid arteries, SCM, just coming within our field of view. Back over here, sweeping along the posterior side, which extends from the scapula up into the occipital area. Sounds almost like a test question. Is the what muscles back here? Trapezius. Trapezius, thank you. And if you want to be cool and call it traps, I'm okay with that. All right. Uvula, once again, it's getting redundant. Okay, medial pterygoid muscle, lateral pterygoid muscle, SCM bilateral. Okay, again, nothing really different. The internal jugular, internal carotid, traps back over here, parotid. Better definition of the retromandibular vein bilaterally seen here and here. It's always going to hug the medial aspect of the parotid. Yes, ma'am?
Is that lateral? You said lateral pterygoid? Where's the masseter?
I'm sorry, I meant medial pterygoid.
Medial, and then on the other
masseter.
Masseter.
Yes, ma'am. Did I say that wrong?
Yeah, you
Thank
said
you. See, I do that on purpose, but actually it's me having a senior moment. Okay,
that's
masseter
masseter.
and the
Medial
medial pterygoid muscle. Thank you, McKenna. You could